me, literally walking in someone else's shoes feels really weird, but it's necessary for me to get places. Just like communication, you have to be able to put yourself in other people's perspective in order for them to actually be able to communicate clearly with you and vice versa. Hey, it's Kylie again, and we only have a couple more episodes, but in this episode, I'll be talking about Habit 5, which is listen first, which is the first half, and talk second, which is the second half. The reason why you need to put yourself in other people's perspective is because the only thing humans really want is just to be understood. The book says that people won't expose their soft centers unless they feel genuine love and understanding, and I completely agree with this. Because my friends, she's really shy. One of my friends, she's really shy and she just doesn't really open up very well. So I showed her genuine love and understanding by telling her that I'm here for her and stuff like that. And she eventually opened up to me, and she told me a lot of things that I just didn't know about her. To understand someone, you must listen to them. This poem in the book really captures what the author is trying to say, so I'll read that for you real quick. Please listen. When I ask you to listen to me and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you are trampling on my feelings. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me. Strange as that may seem, listen. All I ask is that you listen. Don't talk or do, just hear me. I completely agree with that, because whenever people just don't listen to you, it makes you feel like they don't really care. And whenever you feel like people don't care, you really don't care about what they have to say. The book discussed 5 poor listening styles. The first one is spacing out, which is ignoring the person and just wandering around in your own little world. The second is pretend listening, which is just saying yeah, lol, just those kinds of things here and there just to make the person believe that you're listening when you're really not. Then there's selective listening, which is whenever you only harp up and actually listen whenever you hear the part that really interests you. And there's word listening, where you don't really listen to the body language or just the general meaning. You just listen to the words that people are saying. Last, there's self-centered listening, where you only listen in your own point of view. You don't try to see their point of view or where they're coming from. Some examples of that are judging, which is whenever you just make little judgments in the back of your head. Then there's advising, where you give the person advice that they don't really need. You just say it because it happened to you. And then there's probing, which is where you try to dig up someone's emotions whenever they're not ready for the vulnerable side of them to show. For me, my 2 personal big ones are spacing out and pretend listening. I learned how to actually listen to someone, and it's called genuine listening. It's where you have actual communication with someone and you really understand how they feel and they understand how you feel. In order to do this, you need to listen with your eyes, heart, and ear. Because as dumb as this might seem, words really don't get the point across. It's usually more of body language and the tone or meaning of how the words are being said. For example, I did this with my sister one day, and it actually improved the conversation, and I actually understood where she was coming from whenever she was complaining about something. You also need to hear what they're not saying. This poem that I'm about to read is a little lengthy, but just bear with me. It really explains what hearing what they're not saying means. Please, hear what I'm not saying. Don't be fooled by me. Don't be fooled by the mask I wear. Where I wear a mask, I wear 1,000 masks. Masks that I'm afraid to take off, and none of them is me. Pretending is an art that is second nature with me, but don't be fooled. I give the impression that I'm secure, that all is sunny and unflood with me, within as well as without. That confidence is my name and coolness is my game. That the waters are calm and that I'm in command and I need no one. But don't believe it, please don't. I idly chatter with you in the same tones of surface talk. I tell you everything that's really nothing of what's crying with me. So when I'm going through my routine, don't be fooled by what I'm saying. Please listen carefully and try to hear what I'm not saying. What I'd like to be able to say, what, for my survival, I need to say, but I can't say. I dislike the hiding, I honestly do. I dislike the superficial, phony games I'm playing. I'd really like to be genuine, spontaneous in me, but you have to help me. You have to help me by holding out your hand even when that's the last thing I seem to want or need. Each time you are kind and gentle and encouraging. Each time you try to understand because you really care. My heart begins to grow wings, very small wings, very feeble wings, but wings. With your sensitivity and sympathy and your power of understanding, I can make it. You can breathe life into me. It will not be easy for you. A long conviction of worthlessness builds strong walls, but love is stronger than strong walls, and therein lies my hope. Please try to beat down those walls with firm hands, but with gentle hands, for a child is very sensitive, and I am a child. Who am I, you may wonder? For I am every man, every woman, every child, every human you meet. That poem, it really spoke to me because, it really explains what I'm going through right now, and it's honestly not the best. Another thing you need to do is stand in their shoes and try to see it and feel it as they see and feel it. I tried this with my mom last night because she had a really rough day at work and she just needed to rant, and it honestly really worked because she noticed that I really cared, because I did, and then the communication was more clear and she got all her venting out and she felt a lot better. And then you need to practice mirroring. Basically, mirroring is repeating the meaning of the words, not repeating the actual words. Mirroring is often confused with mimicking. Mirroring is repeating back what the person is saying and feeling, and the mimicking is repeating back exactly what the words are, which is not what you want to do, because then it'll just escalate and they're going to be like, oh, you don't really care, so I'm just going to shut you out. There is a specific time and place for it, because if someone's asking to use the bathroom, you don't need to be like, oh yeah, so what you're saying is, you just need to be like, oh yeah, go to the bathroom, or yeah, I'll show you where the bathroom is at. I honestly didn't know about this until I read the book, and it's improved my conversations a lot, because whenever people rant to me, I'm just like, so what you're saying is you feel confused or you feel hurt, and they explain more and they think that I'm a really good listener because I follow what the book said. If you want to improve your relationship with your parents or your mom or dad, you really need to listen to them like you would a friend. The book says that it will cause you to gain their respect, and they'll be a little bit more lenient about what they let you do because they actually trust you. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm going to try it because right now that's what I need, for my relationships with my parents. So I'm gonna try it and I'll see if it works. But for right now, I don't know yet, but I'm gonna trust what the book says because it's been right so far. But now we'll talk about the second half, which is talk second. Seeking to understand requires consideration, but seeking to be understood requires courage. The book says that giving feedback is very important. But before you give someone feedback, you need to ask yourself, will it benefit them, or am I just trying to fix them for myself? And then you need to send I messages, not you messages, which means you need to say I feel, not you are. So one of my closest friends wasn't doing something correctly, like for her personal life, and I was gonna give feedback because she asked what I would do for it. And so I was a little bit scared too because I didn't know if I was just like trying to just give advice, but I asked myself those questions and I gave the feedback, and she's actually changed for the better. So in Habit 5, I talked about the 5 core learning styles. They are spacing out, pretend listening, self-centered listening, word listening, and selective listening. Then I talked about how you can improve yourself with genuine listening and how it actually helps. I encourage you to try this because it will help you with a lot of your relationships. It'll also help you improve yourself, but while you improve yourself, watch yourself to see how you actually change. And with that being said, have a wonderful day.